Hi, I'm Chris Harvey, and today we're going to talk about smokers, using your smoker, lighting your smoker, and the importance of a smoker. Okay? A smoker is a very, very important piece of beekeeping equipment. If you're going to keep bees, you have to have one. Okay? This is a dome smoker. For a hobbyist, this is every bit of a smoker you're ever going to need. Nice thing about this smoker is that it has a separate burn chamber. It basically has a screw that sticks out the bottom of it and keeps the fire up off of the bottom of the smoker. When you use the bellows to inject air into a smoker to create your smoke, air is injected right here at the bottom of the can. Because of the chamber with the screw, the fire is up off the bottom, the air is actually injected under the can, under the chamber. Through these holes, smoke is produced out the dome top. Okay? What a smoker basically does for you is two things. It basically tricks the bees into thinking there's a forest fire. Okay? The bees' natural instinct is to immediately start to consume large amounts of honey because they need to have a belly full of honey. If they're going to make a run for it, when they get to where they're going, they're going to need that honey to build a new nest. Okay? Second thing it does is bees produce an alarm pheromone. If a bee happens to sting you or just loses its stinger in your jeans or your bee suit, a pheromone will be produced to tell the other bees that there's danger, that one of the bees has stung something, and that they need basically to become defensive. All right? The smoke will cover up that pheromone to some degree. So, it distracts them, gets them eating honey, and covers up the alarm pheromone. That's what smoke does. It's real easy. If you looked at the bee installation videos, you see that we don't use smoke when we install the bees. And the reason for that is that they don't have anything to defend. They don't have any honey, they don't have a nest, they don't have any brood. So they're basically pretty non-defensive when you install them. And I think that going forward leads people to assume incorrectly that the bees are so docile and calm that they don't need to use a smoker. Okay? I mean, you can fill the feeder. You can look at the bees from outside the hive, look up through the screen bottom, see how they're doing. Okay, the best time to do that is in the evening when they're very calmed down and they're all, up there clustered. And usually you will not have any problem. Okay, that's not to say you can't get stung just standing there watching them, because you can. But for the most part, they don't bother with you much. But when you go to harvest honey or you go to inspect your hive, the later it gets in the year, the more defensive the bees will be. Okay, at the end of summer, into the fall, into the winter especially, they are defending that nest, they are defending that honey, especially if you're harvesting honey. Okay, you have to use your smoker. If you ever open up your hive without your smoker, you'll never do it again. You have a hard time even getting the quilt back on the hive, because basically once you remove the quilt, the bees all start coming out the top. You need the smoke to get them to go back in and start consuming that honey so you can put the hive back together. So it just is a very, very important tool. The conventional way of lighting a smoker is just like you'd light a campfire. You basically take some scrap pine, whether it be dried up branches or scrap lumber. You light a piece of newspaper, you drop it in there, you put some pine on top of it, fire gets started, okay? And then you'll have to put some kind of fuel on top of that to create the smoke, because the burning pine just isn't going to create the smoke that you need. So you can use, a lot of different things we'll talk about. But the issue with using pine, lumber type fire is that it burns up. Okay, you need that coal base at the bottom of the smoker to keep the fuel that you're using to create the smoke going. If the wood goes out, basically the smoker goes out. So what we like to use is this compressed cotton fiber smoker fuel. It's recycled. This has been burned a little bit. It's recycled cotton fibers, just compressed together. It breaks up pretty easy. All right, you can find this on our web store. And basically just take some of this cotton fiber, just drop it into the smoker. Don't pack it in. You actually want a good amount of air space in between the pieces so that the fire can really get going easily. Just tip your smoker on its side. Propane torch. This is a MAP gas torch, but use a propane torch or MAP gas torch. Basically light it. We're going to inject a flame under the fuel. Won't take long to get it going. Okay? Get the flame down into the can, down under the fuel and as far deep into the can as you can. Sometimes the torch will go out if you put it down in there too deep. But you want to get as much of that fuel burning as you can, not just one little part of it. It doesn't take long as you keep your fuel dry. Don't keep it in your garage or shed where it's going to get damp. Okay? As long as you keep this stuff dry, it lights pretty darn easy. Basically, you can see it's lit. It produces a pretty good amount of smoke. This cotton fiber fuel can be used by itself. Alright? If you want to produce a lot of smoke, or if you want to cool the smoke down, because this smoke can be a little hot, because it's coming directly off of the main fire. Okay? And bees can get irritated sometimes when you smoke them with hot smoke. If you want to create a lot of smoke, and or cool smoke, you want to use something on top of this cotton. So this cotton basically taking the place of the wood we were talking about, except this is going to stay burning for a good long time. Alright. You can use pine needles. If you have a smoker like you smoke fish with, you have hickory chips for that, you can use that for smoker fuel on top of the cotton. One of the things we like to use is sumac. We have an abundance of sumac bulbs around here. And these are really great at making smoke. So pack this sumac in on top of the cotton fiber. And I say pack it, push it down, but don't, you don't want to compress the cotton fiber. You just want to basically make this tight, this part of the fire on top tight, to get the smoker fuel to burn slower. And to cool things down, because when the smoke has to go through this, somewhat tightly packed fuel on top, that's going to cool it down. All right, it's going to prevent any hot coals from coming out of the smoker stack or anything like that. So, you've got the fire going, you've got your smoker fuel on top if you need to use that. Close it up and work the bellows a few times. As you can see, it is going. It's not producing a tremendous amount of smoke yet. This is where a lot of people make a mistake. I'm guilty of it. I think we're all going to be guilty of it one time or another because we're impatient. We're human, Got the smoker lit, it's producing smoke, you go out and you start inspecting the hive. Get the hive opened up, especially if you're doing a modified hive inspection. You're doing a lot of inspecting. Okay, you're in there and you blow the first couple initial puffs of smoke, everything's fine, you open up the hive, and then 5 minutes later, 3 minutes later, the bees start to, that first initial smoking is wearing off. The bees start to become aware of you and trying to figure out what they're going to do about you. And you see that and you reach down to grab your smoker to smoke them again and hardly anything comes out. Okay, it'll happen every time if you're not patient with your smoker. Okay, let this thing sit here right now for 15 or 20 minutes to get burning good. Then go out and do your inspection. Otherwise you'll struggle with it, and then you'll come back, set it down, you go in the house, clean up, come back out, and the thing will be burning beautiful. Alright, so just wait the first time, get it going good the first time, everything will be great. When you're all done worked your bees, take a stick, a cork, whatever you got. I picked this up off the ground a minute ago, and plug the outlet of the smoker. Okay, fuel will go. Fire will go out in about 5 minutes, and you'll save fuel. Next time, you just leave the stick in there until the next time you want to use it. Next time you want to use it, pull the burn chamber out, dump it out, pick up any unspent fuel, put in some fresh fuel if you need to, relight it, you're back in business. That's all there is to it. Thanks for watching.